there's another one, look. Grandpa, I think that's Casper.
Casper.
Do you remember that beautiful black and white Appaloosa we called Ghost? He would show up every now and then.
Oh, I do remember that horse.
That is his son. That winter when Ty and I came up here, we saw Casper. We named him that because he was a baby ghost.
Look at that. He's got a family of his own now. Well, life goes on, doesn't it?
How are you today?
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a different time.
It really is.
So before we get into one of the biggest things for this new season, tell me, first of all, what was it like coming back? Because I'm sure, considering the changes and how things are now, what was it like to actually film?
It was a very different year on all levels. And I think anyone we talk to in any profession will say the same thing. It was a year of adapting and learning and relearning things that we thought we knew so well. And being on a show for 14 years with mostly the same casting, you get used to doing your job a certain way. Everybody knows each other. We're a very social group. We care about each other. We love each other. We're very intimate. We like to hug each other when we see each other and hug each other when we're leaving. And that, of course, wasn't allowed this year. So I think the biggest challenge for me was to be able to go to work and find that enjoyment that I love so much about Heartland, because I really do enjoy what I do and I enjoy the people that I'm with. And so to learn how to still find that enjoyment with so many restrictions and in a very non-social environment.
Obviously, one of the biggest things for this season is revealed right away. So can you talk about the fact that someone leaves us this season?
I can finally talk about it. This has been something that people have speculated. People have been asking me on social media for the last 6 months. And of course, this is a job. I am under contract not to give away any secrets or story ideas. So I think in a way, because I am so open with my fans and I share a lot about my life and about things on set and Heartland, people, I believe, felt a little bit betrayed. People thought, wait a minute, you share all kinds of stuff with us. Why are you hiding this from us? Why aren't you telling us this if this actually happens? And I think, big stretches, Remy. I think for fans of the show and viewers that have been watching the Amy and Ty relationship for so many years, this was a shock, of course, as this was a very unexpected and unwelcomed idea, I think, for a lot of people. And that's the biggest thing, the biggest challenge we face as the Heartland group is to, how do we move forward from this idea? How do we carry on stories that people want to watch, that people are impacted by, that people feel something from? And I think, death is never really planned. We don't know that in our own lives, we don't know how long we have. We don't know how long our loved ones have. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, they don't even want to think about. But this gives us an opportunity when we watch the show and we see this family grieving and honoring the character of Ty. I hope it gives all of us an opportunity to look around and know that, we really don't know how much time we have. And if we only had today, how would we live it? And how would we treat the people around us? And I think that's an important message for anyone. I don't care who you are. It's living in the moment. It's being present. And it's being kind, because if I were to leave this earth tomorrow, I hope that people know and remember me as someone who was compassionate and caring and kind and loving, not someone who was in a rush to get to the next place or was just trying to continually move my life in a certain direction. I think when it all comes down to it, we can learn a lot from this.
And those first few minutes of the episode are incredibly moving. And I almost like the way too, well, not almost, I love the way that you've bookended, the show bookends that moment too, that you start with that and then you end with it as well. Did that, I mean, what did that come down to in terms of filming? Did you guys have a lot of, I don't know, like, how do you get into that much emotion in the show?
That idea to bookend that story with Amy in that place that Ty fell was actually an idea from our director, Pierre Tremblay. And that wasn't written. That was not in the script. And he said, I really want viewers to see this image of a hurting Amy, an Amy that has been completely shattered from everything that we know in the past. And to start the episode with feeling that. And then to end the episode with that little hint of light. And we know that Amy has to be there for her daughter, and she loves her daughter more than anything in the world. And that is such an important message to show, is that we lose people in our lives. We are all going to lose someone in our life at some point. And to know that moving forward and being there for the people that are still in your life is so important. Because if Amy just shut down and completely checked out, what would that do to her daughter? And so that was the biggest message that I wanted to portray in the whole season of season 14. And Pierre was really on board with me in that idea. And I kept saying, and we would have all kinds of conversations to thread that message through episode 1 and to say, yes, she's a grieving widow. And of course, this is the most traumatizing thing that has happened. And we also have to remember this story started with the death of Amy's mother. So she's not foreign to loss. She has had to grieve like no child should have to grieve. And now she's going through it all again. But this time she has to be there for her own daughter. So this is a different healing experience for her. And it's a moment of strength and empowerment for not just who she is, but to be there for her daughter and the rest of her family.
And how is this going to affect the rest of the season? I assume this is a thread that's going to be carried through?
This, of course, is not a story point that's just forgotten. The death of this character is season 14. And we needed to honor that. This is a character that viewers and fans have loved for so many, over a decade. And this show, this couple, this family has been in the living rooms of people around the world for many, many years. So we need to honor that character and go through that journey together. And I hope that people will cry with us, grieve with us, laugh with us, have tears with us. And really, I think that is what good television is. When you are so captivated by those stories, when you're so consumed into that family that you feel like you're really there.
That's awesome. Well said. I'll be very curious to see the rest, where things go from here. So at the same time, how did COVID impact the storylines? Because this does seem to be a story that certainly fits well with the impact that's been seen around the world of family losing family members. Is that part of it, or did it just come out of storytelling?
It's interesting when we look at the bigger picture of filmmaking. And these stories were written in December of 2019. So well before lockdown happened, well before anyone mentioned the coronavirus. So this was a story that was well established, well underway, and almost ready to begin shooting right when lockdown started. So we were in prep. We were ready to go to camera in April of 2020. The stories were all written, completed, everything that you see this season, with some minor changes, because of course, when we were filming in April, May, June, July, August, those are spring and summer scripts. So the stories were made for spring, summer scripts, weather. So when we were pushed due to lockdown and trying to figure out exactly how we were going to go into production in a safe manner, we had to be postponed until September. So now you're taking spring, summer scripts and turning them into fall, winter scripts. So there were a few story details that had to be adapted to the changing seasons. For example, there's a few different rodeo aspects to it. Those were originally supposed to be outside. We had to move them into an indoor arena. Same with polo. We had a big polo match that was supposed to be out on a big, beautiful, green, lush polo field in the middle of summer. That was adapted to be indoors as well. We were able to add some beautiful scenes that I've been waiting for many, many years, and they need a winter setting. And when we were given that winter setting, that allowed the writers to add in a few wintry sport moments that I think is it really adds to the story. And in a way, the fall winter climate, it tells the story of grief better than a spring summer story. Because we do have to remember, this is a television show. We're trying to create mood. We're trying to create this atmosphere for the characters. And so to have the mood that's already set for us, this table is set just by the changing of the seasons. In a way, I call it the Heartland horseshoe. Things just seem to happen for Heartland that make stories better, even when they're completely out of our control. And I think that's the case with this year.
Can you hint at all about what we're going to see for her this season? What's that arc look like, as a hint at least?
Mm-hmm. To talk about Amy's story, well, first of all, I think we know there's going to be some horses involved. So that's not really giving anything away. Amy has always used horses to heal her soul. Just from the start of the series, Spartan, after the death of her mother, really was what brought Amy to this full circle of growth and empowerment. And we do see that again this season. We see a lot of really nice moments, mother-daughter moments. And that was a lot of fun for me to play, because the twins who play the role of Lindy, Ruby and Emanuela, they're now 4 years old. So they have this beautiful, blooming personality, and they understand what we're doing now, when they were younger, because they started the show when they were 6 months old. So before, it was more about just engaging with them, playing with them, and whatever happens, happens, and we just make it work into the script. But now that they're 4 and they've been on the show for almost their whole life, they understand the concept of what we're doing. And so I had the discussion with them. They're very intelligent young girls. And I said, we're pretending that Papa is what they call him, died. He's not here, but don't worry. Graham's fine. And we would Skype and talk with Graham. So they actually understood, he's over here. We're just pretending this is a story. And they were fully on board. They're like, okay. So I'm sad. I'm happy. And it was amazing for me, it was a very rewarding experience to be able to act with these young, fresh minds that really understood what it was we were trying to accomplish.
It's an amazing thing to think about that, because I don't think people appreciate as much how difficult it must be both for the child actor and for the team to get these shots. Otherwise, are there some highlights of the season coming up that you can also hint at?
There's been a few times that I've said episodes are exciting, and I know people took that the wrong way, because people were saying, well, if Ty dies, how is that exciting? There's nothing exciting about death. No, guys, I'm not saying that death is exciting. I'm saying that these episodes, these certain particular stories that we're doing are exciting, and I fully stand by that. And I think there's, I believe in the teaser, it shows an explosion. That's actually what I was referring to, is because I think the time I was asked, we were just in the middle of filming that episode. And as an actor, that kind of stuff is exciting to play. There was a time when I played this character, and it was the end of the world, and I was driving around in a tank shooting people. And I say that was one of the most exciting and fun moments of my career. Not because I was driving in a tank shooting people. This is a story. We were just playing with this. And I think it would be equivalent to someone playing a video game, and they're stealing cars and shooting at people, and they're like, oh, this is so fun. This is such a great video game. Well, it's not real life. You would never describe real life like that. And I think that's one thing that for myself, I have to remember, that viewers are so caught up in the stories. They really believe that it's real. So I have to be delicate in how I describe certain situations, because for me, yes, filming this season was very emotionally draining, but we had a lot of fun as a cast. And Graham's fine, he didn't actually die. So I think that's the separation that we as actors have, and we have to have, because you would be so torn up inside if you took each story as reality. And playing the longevity of a character over 14 years, you just wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't work with your whole psyche, with your mind, if you took every story as real life. So I'm excited for viewers to come on this journey with us this year. It's a very emotional journey. It's a healing journey. And it's one that I definitely think will have an impact on a lot of people. I hope it does. And if we've done our job right, I think that it's a beautiful story. And it's a story of truth. And I think that that's always a story worth telling.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. I had wanted to get on set this season, but that didn't work. So hopefully, if there's a new season, I hope to be able to make it next time.
Yeah. Well, and we'd love to have you out.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. You too.